There's a little bit of that, and the promos can kind of push, kind of give you blinders a little bit, right? Like to where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have 100 options. You have 5 options, and these 5 options are all less than 5 minutes away from you. And this can make your night out with friends or when you're hanging out with people more seamless, rather than going through a list of like 100 places in like a 10-mile radius, or like the city. Like, oh, let's find where should we go from here? I'm looking. I can't find anything. Rather, it's like here are like 5 places. There are promos. Here's a coffee shop. Here's a pizza place. Here's a pool hall. They all have promos, and then maybe that's a way to build the audience. And then for the vendors, we sell them the solution, the line building solution. All right, welcome. Okay, cool. Well, welcome back to In the Future. This is actually a follow-up to the previous episode that we had here where we talked about 6 business ideas you could actually launch. And we got great comments, right? We've had the collab curator reach out and talk to us a little bit about the plant idea. Felt a little bit mixed, saying that it's really hard to manage plants, but, still an idea that could work really well, knowing that. And then that same user called out the line builder idea that they really loved it. We really loved it. So that's actually the idea we're going to go ahead and kick off on today. And just as a synopsis, hey, Max, like I'm trying to remember, the line idea was kind of like a promotional push or message, or maybe like a discount to get people to line up. If you're the first 10 people for, let's say you're selling a product of, let's say you're selling ice cream, to keep it simple. Hey, if you're the first 10 people to come to this ice cream shack or, stand, you will get $5 worth of ice cream for free, or something like, or an extra free scoop, so that the line actually builds. And so when people are walking around, because everybody has a psychology of like, that place has a line, I want to go ahead and eat whatever's there. So that kind of does some sort of like self-advertising. And as soon as you hit that threshold, the promotion ends. And every time that you run out, your line runs out, that promotion could kick back in. Again, really rough description, but Max, you'll explain it a lot better than I will.
Yeah, that was a pretty good explanation. Okay, so that was actually very helpful because it helped me jog my own memory. So whenever we talk about ideas, it's always interesting to me to think about what's the psychological angle that we're tapping into, right? Because like psychology drives all of our actions. And so here I have a note written down about this line builder app. So the psychology, people are attracted to places that have a crowd, right? That's the social proof. It's that signal that we're giving to each other that, hey, if you eat at this restaurant or at this food truck or at this ice cream stand, you're not going to get poisoned. Right, because all the 50 people ahead of you are also taking the same risk, and you're kind of it's that mob mentality, right? And so when you're looking for a place to eat, long lines are perhaps like the strongest, most visible signal that the product is in high demand, right? And so like that's essentially the idea. And I think in the last episode we talked about you could build up this line in front of a food truck, but it's not limited to just food trucks, right? It could be an ice cream stand. It could be a Mr. Softy truck. It could even be a
retail store. It could
be a retail store. Right? Exactly. Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah. But essentially the idea is, how do you create a line to inspire a crowd, right? Like that's the kind of like that one line sentiment.
But can I just add that that's a very New York City thing too? Like, I think it's literally a meme. If you walk around New York, or there's Instagram videos that say like, everybody always, you'll see a long line everywhere in New York, and people will be like, hey, what's this line for? And they don't even know what it is. And they're just like, oh, we don't know. We're just standing in it. Or, oh, they're giving out free sunglasses. And I didn't even want sunglasses, but I'll stand in this line for this promotional thing. Yeah. So that's funny how that works, right? And especially when knowing that people that don't even know what it is, they're just like, oh, we don't know. We're just checking it out.
Man, I'm feeling such shame as you said that, because I'm remembering myself like at night, especially like after a couple of bars, you're walking by and you're like, oh, this looks cool. Yeah, let's just stand here. And then someone comes up behind you and they're like, what's this line for? You're like, I have no idea. I don't even know if this is the right line, like to get into.
We're marching into our deaths.
But again, like this idea was inspired just by being in a different city, like Japan, where I was a couple of weeks ago, and like for us, it was not knowing where to go, right? Like, yeah, you can use,
Hmm.
like the equivalent of Foursquare, like Google reviews, but really the most
Yeah.
visible thing is what are the other people around you doing, right? Like,
Yeah.
especially in like markets where there is just it's very dense and centralized, like all of these like food trucks, right? Like they're all in the
Christmas
same
markets.
section. Yeah, which one do you go to? One of the
Mhm.
places, one or two of the places usually inspires that crowd, and that's where everybody kind of gravitates.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting to like see that herd mentality, right? And so, okay, so that's ooh, I just pressed on the lever on my chair and I I dropped
What
like 2
down?
feet.
Yeah.
Hold
Sorry.
on a sec. That was funny. Okay, so we talked about kind of what the idea is. Let's talk a little bit about how it works.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Let's build it. Let's build it in our heads.
let's build the
High
idea.
level.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like the idea is like we'll share it out here and hopefully like some of our listeners get inspired by it and then they build on top of it, right? They actually go out and
Yeah.
build the idea. That's the whole point of
Hmm.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try to
And we're gonna get 1%
read.
of that revenue too, right? If they build it out.
Absolutely,
Like you're
100%.
buying. If you're watching this, you're bound to that.
Is that the contract?
Yeah. Yeah. You've watched this video. That's it.
You're hooked.
You're hooked.
We're bonded for life. Okay,
Yep.
so let me see what I wrote here. So food trucks entice people to wait a few minutes longer online to get their food at a discount. Okay, so really
Yeah.
the gist of it is the first 10 or so people who wait, they get a discount, right? Essentially, like we want you to be that initial social proof, so we'll reward you with like
Mhm.
20% off of your item that you're buying.
How's that
Because
message delivered though?
I think at first, so like it's the chicken before the egg, right? So like if you have the
Hmm.
app already, then I would say you get the push notifications,
Okay.
especially if you have location on. You're like, oh, you're walking by something, and you get the trigger that says, hey, if you actually go to this retail store or this food truck, you're eligible for the discount. There's nobody ahead of you, or there's 5 people ahead of you, and it's maxed out at and so that rushes to get there. But if you don't have the app, I would say you got to go a little bit old school. You have to message it on the truck or on the store.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something
Even
like
just
that.
having it
Scan a
like,
QR
hey,
code. Scan a QR code, and like you're it's your way of saying that you're here.
my only concern about the paper is that I feel like people can hack it. It's like, hey, let's stand away from the truck until the line disappears, and then let's come back and get the promo. Um, which
Hmm.
might be
Do you-
okay. Even
yeah.
might that might even be all right because of the lineman, like the herd mentality would. It would still create a line. You would still win. Ultimately, you would win. I guess I'm trying to understand. So the app would be the purpose. I, as a user, I download the app because I want to know what are the best places to go to. Like that's as an end user of the app.
Either to get so it depends on who. Let me actually just get the first thought out. So
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
first 10 people who
yeah.
wait, the first 10 people who wait, they get a discount to build up the line. This gets other
Mhm.
people to join the line as well because of curiosity, right? So like there's basically two
Yes,
types of users there. And so who are you talking about first? Those first
the
initial
first 10,
builders?
the initial builders. Yeah, the initial builders. Like they have this app. Like they decided consciously to download this app. Let's give it a name. Let's say it's like Line. Maybe it's not even called Line
Oh,
Builder because that would probably be a lame name for an app. It'd probably be like, um, I don't know, like local promos. Not that that's a greater name, but like it wouldn't. Like I think from the end user as like the consumer, I probably wouldn't buy or download an app called Line Builder, right? That would be more of the message or the framing for the vendors, which makes sense as a solution. I guess I'm trying to see like what app or could it be partnering with a certain app that exists today, like a Foursquare? I don't know if people still use that. Like, are you a
so
do you
so
use
so so
Foursquare?
so I have never used Foursquare, but Foursquare has a piece of it called Swarm, and Swarm is actually surprisingly still popular.
What Swarm do?
I think it's the same thing. Like it shows the reviews and like the ratings, and more importantly, it allows you to check into the place so that
Yeah,
you could become like the mayor of the location,
are
and then
these
like other
apps
people
still
can see that you're in
popular?
there. Swarm is, yeah.
You know what I was thinking? Like, do you have an iPhone? No, you
I have
don't,
an
right?
Android.
Oh, we both
We
have
both have
Androids.
Androids.
Shoot, I was gonna say because my mind went to, and we're gonna come back to this exact topic, but I just want to add some context here.
Yeah,
My mind was going to like Yelp is dead, right? Like to me, Yelp more or less is dead. I think it's still
absolutely.
alive in
Yeah.
some cities, but can we consider Yelp kind of a relic of the 2010s and stuff? Okay.
It's a bit
So
of a
we
shit
agree with
show.
that.
Yeah, no one
Yeah,
trusts it.
no one trusts it. Google reviews to me is like the closest contemporary version of that. Google reviews, I think people love. Okay. I was thinking, could we partner with a Google to offer these notifications? Hey, Google, we
With a
built out
Google, can
this
we partner with a Google?
with Google. Can we partner with Google? As if there are many Googles. Yeah, can we
Yeah.
partner with Google and say we built out this solution or like buy a set leveraging your platform where we can notify users when they're near locations using the Google Maps or Google. I think it's just Google. There's no Google Reviews app. I think it's just Google, right? The Google
It's just
app.
Google. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Basically, that have notifications. Work with them. Maybe it's leveraging their API if we're gonna have our own app. But my thought was like, you have Google already. The solution could be like kick off that app to say, hey, nearby there's a promo when as you're walking by doing the geolocation. I guess my mindset's going like if we can consolidate because I think people download apps all the time on their phone. I think they just use them once and never use them again. Like if we could sell the solution to Google or work with Google or maybe it's Apple Maps. I don't know if Apple does that on their. I feel like Apple doesn't really have a foothold in that. Like, hey, what are the reviews of
Apple
the
Maps is still, yeah, like they messed up a while ago,
right?
and they haven't been able to regain people's trust. But I mean, I see where you're going, but I would also
I'm
say,
just
like,
trying
for
to see if
someone
you can
who's,
integrate
yeah,
into
I
existing.
think I think I agree. I think integrating with a behemoth is the ideal goal. But for someone who's just building this out, how do you test a proof of concept, right? How do
Totally
you
agreed.
you want to you don't want no one's gonna know about you, right? You're just a cockroach at the beginning. And so
Yeah,
how do you do it, and how do you prove the concept, and how do you
yeah.
add value to both the customer and to the vendor without
Again,
requiring partnership?
and it's chicken before the egg, or like chicken before the egg question too for that because it's like, who do we go for first? Do we build it as a promo app where we get actual users to come onto it, compete with like some sort of like coupon apps that are out there, like a Clip or like a Valpak? I don't know, not Valpak, but Clip or the one that used to be in the Groupon. I don't know if it's like that, and then you build the partnerships. That's also the other challenge. It's like, how do you approach it? You'd probably want to approach it in a unique way. Probably not like a Groupon, not like a Clip. Maybe it's hyper local, or it's maybe one way you can make it, give it a unique spin. It's like based on your exact geolocation, and it gives you just the promos within like a mile radius or like half a mile radius. So then, like, it's
There's
not like
something
you
there.
can go
Yeah.
like maybe right. I'm just freestyling here. Like it's like so as you're walking around with your friends, you can have more of that kind of like that spontaneous kind of recreate some of that spontaneous like remember when we were in Montreal like oh like this place like this isn't on any top list but let's just go in here. There's a little bit of that and the promos can kind of push kind of give you blinders a little bit right like to where you are
Hmm.
so you don't
Yeah.
have 100 options, you have 5 options and these 5 options are all less than 5 minutes away from you and this can make your night out with friends or when you're hanging out with people more seamless rather than going through a list of like 100 places in like a 10-mile radius or like the city. Like, oh, let's find it. Where should we go from here? Um, I'm looking. I can't find anything. Rather, it's like here are like 5 places. There are promos. Here's a coffee shop. Here's a pizza place. Here's a pool hall. They all have promos. And then maybe that's a way to
Yeah.
build the audience. And then for the vendors, we sell them the solution, the line building solution. I don't know.
I'm also,
That's
yeah.
yeah. Go.
It's interesting. I mean, the challenges are real. I would also say, like, okay, so if I were trying to get this off the ground and just prove the concept out, right, I would
Yeah.
go to a place that has first of all a lot of vendors in it, so that there's we're proving the fact that there's a lot of choices for the consumer, and we want them to
Mhm.
gravitate towards one or two of the vendors that we are promoting. So I
Hey,
would go to something like,
can
go
I
ahead.
throw in a wrench into your scenario? I'll ground it a little bit. This is going to be
I didn't even say it yet, but yeah, go ahead.
okay. No, but you said I'll go to a place with a lot of vendors. Let me just ground you
Okay,
with a
okay.
real life place. If you're familiar with it, Bryant Park Christmas Village.
Interesting.
Have you
Okay, so
gone?
you said that I have. I'm sorry, not Bryant Park. I've gone to the Union Square
Union Square.
Christmas
Okay,
Village.
one
Yeah,
of the Christmas villages. Yeah.
yeah. So you were saying that I was just about to spit out going to like a festival, right? Like a music festival. That's
Yep.
another place of a concentrated one. Or in the back of my mind was something like from back in the day, like Queens Mall, right? Like or any mall
Mm-hmm.
where you
Malls are
everyone's
no
funneled in
brainers.
through a door. Everyone's funneled in through a door was kind of my point. And you as a user, as the builder of this product, you just print out a sign that says, "Hey, get a discount," or like go to like the most popular place, blah, 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 however you want to phrase it.
First,
And,
first
and like
five.
scan this QR code or go to this Bitly link, and it's just like web based, so you don't have to build out
Mm-hmm.
the app to test it. And you or like we, if we're building this, go to the vendor and say, hey, we're going to promote your app, we're going to send traffic, right? We're solving the problem of like it's Wednesday afternoon, you don't have a lot of
Yeah.
customers. We're going to put up the sign by the door, people are going to go to your thing, and you just have to give them 20% off of their first, like, you know $50 $20 that they buy or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And like the first 10 people get it, and then the herd will follow. And so like I think just like that's an easy way to test it, right? You print out just like a sign that just kind of stands like this, and it just says, hey, scan this QR code when you walk in. It
But
takes
if
you
I'm
to
the
the web
vendor,
experience.
let's say I'm the vendor. I'm like, you come to me. I'm like, and I go, well, I can just put on my own discount sign. Why do I need you to do that for me?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so I will.
but
Well, but then you're
but
not selling me on it, on the partnership.
so they're not building out. I mean, why isn't everyone doing that, right? Like every vendor has to then market their particular item. Like that's just
Yeah, but like, don't. I guess I'm trying to figure. Like, don't restaurants just put out signs in front of their stores anyway? Like, what stops? Like, I think that's the challenge. It's like, why
well,
we have
it's
to
like
add
it's
value. We have to have value. Where are
yeah.
we adding value? It's a line building, but we don't have the audience to push to them. We need to build our
can
database, I
can
guess.
every would you argue that, so like if we're talking at the entrance of Bryant Park, is that what you said?
Yeah. Brand Park.
Not
It could be used.
what if can every vendor just put up, like, it would be if they put up a sign, if every vendor put up a sign at the entrance to Bryant Park, the
Oh,
entrance would
are,
just be
are
littered by vendors.
yeah. I get what you're saying. I think the value of that is that we get, for us as the company, as the app, we get to build our database of people that we can then market to when they're in the vicinity.
That's the other value. Yeah, like eventually you could say, well, we have like 1,000 people that live in this area, that we're going to promote you to.
Realistically, we would probably
Pay them? Is
there
that
would
the
probably
pantomime you're doing with your hand?
I'm kind of grounding it in some reality. I think we would have to
Yeah.
be like, we'll buy the first 10. Like, let us pick get your customers. Let us capture your customers during the QR code, and we're gonna help we're gonna help your business in the future because we're gonna build a database that's gonna push people to build a line for your business. For now, we'll buy a couple of these, or we'll pay the difference between the discount. We'll give you like $50 to give the first people, like that would probably be the partnership. Here's $50, give 100 people like, I don't know, like 60% off, something steep to like scan and buy it for cheap. So you're still making money. We've paid you, but we're collecting we're building a database of
Sure. Yeah.
people that we can market. That would probably be like a foundation. I think that would be necessary to build like the actual like database, because maybe it would be the promotion, like click this QR code, download this app for future promos. So we would build our audience like that.
Yeah. It's interesting. I like that you're grounding in a reality. I do think that
Yeah.
there's plenty of ways to market that initial, like, um, that customer base,
Mm-hmm.
to market to that customer base. I remember I thought of this idea like years ago, just like the
Yeah.
nugget of it. And I remember at the time I was focusing on, the fact on grand openings, right? Like as
Yeah.
a business that's just opening up.
Sounds familiar,
Um,
actually. I think I remember you saying this.
I think I might have. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
ran it by you and another friend. It was like a business is just opening up. Like no one really knows about you. How do you market? You're literally
Mm-hmm.
only visible to the people who are walking past you, right? And so with this, you can drive traffic, to the grand opening.
Yep.
I like, yeah. You're typing something to me on the side, so I'm trying to read it. I gotcha. Time check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's speed through this. So that could be one way. It's like,
Mhm.
what's the value that you're bringing? Well, you're a grand opening business. You're a business that just opened up. Nobody knows about you. We have a database of X number of people that we're going to funnel your way, like in Bayside, Queens, right? Like we
Yep,
know we
yep.
have these partnerships, and so like
And
the
when they come
value is
by,
there.
and when they come
And when
by,
they
like if you're, they're going to get notified within half a mile radius, which means, and the way we could position it too to like the vendors is like, we're not going to promote you to people that are 2-3 miles away, like with a blind, marketing message that they're
shotgun effect,
realistically
yeah.
a shotgun effect. Oh, they're 3 miles away. Here's a promo for, let's say, Bob's ice cream. No, when people are half a mile away and realistically, they're more likely they may not have intent to buy at that moment. Potentially, we don't know, but they're in range to be motivated and incentivized to purchase because they're only half a mile away. Hey, Bob has, and you have nobody at your store on a Wednesday night. Bob is having ice cream, half price off. People will build that line for you. Will build that foot traffic, and then as other people are in those busy areas, they're also going to build some foot traffic for sure.
Exactly, and I think
Yeah.
it builds on itself, right? Because if you are not one of the first 10 people who were notified about this, and you're just kind of following the herd, then you're going to say, well, how do I get that discount next time, right? And then
Mhm.
it's like, oh, well, you have to download this app, or you have to go to this go to this, like it could even be just like as an email blast, right? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be an app. Everyone always goes for app, but those are kind of expensive to build, and it
To your
requires
point,
people to
yeah, it could be
download
an email
download it
blast
as
as
well.
well.
It could be
You
a
know
text
what it
message,
is,
and like
but
it could be any of these.
text is good. So I think that's it. I think that's the sweet spot. You nailed it. Because I was going to say the cool thing about the app, and I agree, like oversaturated, people don't like having a bunch of apps, is that we can do push notifications. But to your point, this can just be a marketing SMS program. It doesn't have to be something insane. Email is kind of cool too, but I feel like email just doesn't pop up for everybody.
Sorry, can I
Yeah,
interrupt you for a second? I
yeah,
think the SMS thing is cool, right? And you don't have to limit the tech. Like you don't want to bombard somebody with 20 text messages for 20 different vendors. I would
yeah.
text one link, and then that
Interesting.
link opens up a page of vendors, and
Smart,
all of them
smart.
who are that day or that week offering the discount, right? So like that's sort of the way, and then you build up your brand as like, hey,
Yeah,
we're the brand that gives you the discounts, that gives you the like inside scoop, like inside
yeah.
scoop, I think
That's
there's something
smart.
interesting there.
I
Yeah.
think that's smart. That's really smart. The SMS, the landing page, having all of them for you. The message could still be a little personalized. Max, like it could be like, hey Max, these are the exact places near you that have like the latest discounts, or something like,
You could
hey,
you,
these
you could
places
you
have
could even
limited
you
discounts.
exactly. Yeah, you could even subscribe to like near you is tough when you wouldn't have an app because we don't know your location, right? But you could subscribe to the
Oh, I see.
list.
You're
Like I
right.
want to be noticed about Bayside, Queens, or Astoria, Queens, or
Oh,
the areas in Manhattan specifically, or I want them all,
sorry.
right? And
That was the thing about the app. That's why the app is a V2, a version 2. I think the SMS is would be the first version of it. And even with that first version, you can personalize it probably even on that landing page. Because when Max clicks the link, it's Max. You know where Max has been because when he gets, I don't know if we'll have data for people who actually visit the places, but maybe we can tell what you click on or something like that. You can personalize it, but the V2 would be the app. That's like the future, like the ideal state is the app. Well, actually, let's call it the middle ideal state. The app can alert you when you're nearby because it knows your location. The final version of this would be is like hopefully you get bought out by like a Google or Google reviews or something, a behemoth that just implements that logic, the logic of like, hey, you're nearby, let's build a line, and has that kind of flow with the vendors and the end users and builds lines and
Mhm.
pushes businesses. I'm trying to think. One
and
thing,
sorry,
yeah,
and I would also just like to build up the initial like let's make this easier for people who actually want to build this. Like I would
yeah,
lean on something like Twilio that has the
the
text
SMS.
messaging technology
Yep,
that can personalize it, that can give you tracking. It could put in like Spencer or Max into your first
easily,
name, and makes like that whole transaction easy. I would just tap into that.
definitely. That's it. Just
Sorry.
use like
Okay.
you nailed it. Use a Twilio. The only other thing that comes to mind then is this is later on. This is more
Tell me.
financials, but more about like the business model then it's like because at the beginning you have to build partnerships with the vendors and it's free, but what would be, is it like If it's app, maybe it's some level of advertising or sponsorship. Maybe that's it. The sponsorships.
What are you answering? How does it make
Like,
money,
how
or
does it make money? What's the business model?
why does it need to make money? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. It's like,
um,
oh, for the goodness of your heart. Yeah.
so I would say there's two ways of making money. I know we're at
Yeah,
time
but I think we're
almost,
okay.
so let me just do them high level. So one,
Yeah,
I would
high
say
level. Okay.
once this has some traction, the first way to make money is just monthly fee from the restaurant or the vendor to use our service, right? Like the benefit is we build up your demand, we fill your low customer times throughout the day, throughout the week, and so like okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're paying for us to bring you that foot traffic. Cool, logical, makes
Works.
sense.
Works.
The
Yep.
second one though, I think it's a little bit unique, but hear me out. So I heard sort of this spin from another podcast. So a lot of restaurants, they still have like the old menu, right, where it's just static. It's like here are the items that we have. Everybody gets the same exact menu. But now
Mm-hmm.
that everyone in the restaurant area is pretty much turning to QR codes, when you sit down, you scan a QR code, you see the menu on your phone, right?
Yeah, which
the
is
the
very
the
common.
unique opportunity there is why when you scan that QR code and you see the menu, why isn't someone in the middle A/B testing different menus, different layouts that optimize the person to get, not only are you buying the burrito, but we're upselling you on the soda or the low priced appetizer.
People
Why
don't
at
do that
2
today.
a.m.?
You don't think that's
Not a mass scale. I think if anyone's doing it, they're going to like restaurant by restaurant and selling their
mhm.
services, saying, "Hey, we're going to optimize your digital menu for you, so to raise your ticket price." Why at
Quite the
2 a.m.?
opportunity there too. Yeah,
Absolutely. Like why at 2 a.m. aren't you suggesting when people are coming from bars and
at the
are
top,
drunk
right?
and they're craving greasy food? Why aren't you upselling that because that's what they want? Why is everybody just showing the same static menu? And so I think that here the
That's
real
a
opportunity.
cool one, easy one.
It's an interesting business, yeah. And
Yeah.
and again, like I listened to My First Million. They have this guest Steph Smith, who's just like really really smart, and like she loves this idea as well. She pitched it a couple of times. I recommend listening to that podcast as well. But I think
All
that
right.
might be the opportunity here. It's like, hey, not only do we bring you foot traffic, but what if we also upload your hot items, like the menu that you want to promote that day, and we optimize that menu that we're upselling to people. So we are in the
Yeah.
business of menu optimization to raise your ticket price as a vendor, and maybe
Hmm.
eventually we're even, since they're buying it from the app, why wait for them to pay you at the food truck? Why not take the payment and we process it for you through the app as
Yeah.
well? Right. So like there's different
Recommendations. Yeah.
opportunities that you can, yeah, like you can optimize the menu, you can build up foot traffic, we can process your payments. There's a lot of different areas that you can go, that you can
Hmm.
build on. But I think at the beginning, it's you have to solve the foundation, the whole question of like, how do we bring in those first initial 10 people to the vendor on their slow days? So
Yeah.
lots of interesting stuff.
A lot of ways this can go. Realistic. I think we've grounded it pretty well. Um, cool. So yeah, if somebody wants to
I
build
think
it,
whoever builds this, at this point, like I think we're entitled to that 1% of
100%.
of their
Yeah. Like,
future buyout. Yeah, for sure.
oh, 100. We're coming after you for sure. So build it out so we can come after you, and we're gonna get that 1% of revenue and just do none of the work. Hope
We are
you're okay
kidding, though.
with
We
that.
are kidding. But I do encourage
Yeah.
people to just go ahead and
No,
build it
somebody
out
should
because
build it. Yeah.
it's interesting. There's value there. There's lots of ways that it can go. I think that if it does
Yes.
well, it's going to do really, really well. And not only, I don't
Hire
think that
us.
Google is
We'll
the
help
only
you.
hire us. Yeah, let us work for
Hire
you.
us. We'll help you. Yeah. Let us work for you. We'll help you. Yeah.
All
Exactly.
right. Should we wrap it here? Oh, do
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
encourage people to subscribe
Yes.
so they
Yes.
can get
Yes.
the next
Yes.
episode? Tell them.
That's right. That's right. So please, if you really are enjoying what we're talking about, these discussions, and a lot of these episodes are going to have some continuity and you don't want to miss out, please hit that subscribe button and build up our community. We're enjoying seeing your comments, so please continue to engage and do it a lot more
Yeah.
so we can have some active conversation.
Thanks, man. Good
Cool.
stuff. Let's wrap it
All
here.
right. Good stuff. Later,
Bye.
guys.